Hey guys, Pastor Shannon here. This week what I want to do is respond to a viewer's question. And the question went like this: what effect do you think that the COVID-19 pandemic will have on marriages? It's a great question. We're going to look at it today on Thursday Thoughts. Okay, so the most obvious impact that COVID-19, the pandemic reaction, has had is that the American family has been forced to spend more time together. Sounds great, right? Well, not always. You see, what COVID did is it exposed the fact that many of our marriages are based on and predicated with some crazy ideas. The most obvious was addressed this past month in Christianity Today. And one of the things that the author of a really great article put out there was the fact that a lot of marriages are based on this idea of the soulmate. And the idea of the soulmate is a fun idea. It's great for Disney. But in reality, this whole idea of a soulmate marriage is not lasting. Let me read some of the words that they had to say. The soulmate model of marriage took root in the 1970s and rests on the idea that wedlock is primarily about an intense emotional or romantic connection between two people. Well, absolutely, romance is supposed to happen in marriage, and that's great. But the reality that we all understand if you've been married for more than 5 minutes is that romance is going to come and go. Love sometimes takes different forms in the course of marriage. And so if you're expecting every day of your marriage to always be rapturous love and Disney fairy tales, you're going to get let down when reality hits. And for a lot of people, a lot of Christian marriages and a lot of marriages in general in the USA, the COVID brought about the reality that it's not always going to be the fairy tale. Also involved in the soulmate marriage idea is this. It's the idea predicated on particular economic and political situations. It also comes down to this idea of security. Now, security can rattle any marriage. Believe me, we've all been there. If it feels like you're about to lose a job or the mortgage got refinanced or something. Listen, things happen in the course of a marriage that can change your sense of security. So during COVID, a lot of jobs went away. A lot of finances that were invested in the stock market evaporated overnight. People's financial worlds were shaken, and so the security that always seemed to be there really came into question. Okay, so here's the good news, because you were waiting for some, and it's this. In times of stress and challenge, it turns out that marriages actually get stronger. During the Great Depression, we saw a 20% drop in divorces around the USA. The same thing has been trending in our nation in the last, shall we say, 15 years, where we've kind of gone from one crisis to the next. Well, I personally believe that what's about to happen is you're going to see a strengthening of marriage covenants in the United States of America. Can I be honest with you for just a second? We've watched a depleting of the meaning of marriage for the past 20 years. People have been getting married for all kinds of reasons, including civil rights and perceived ideas of justice. But really, biblical marriage is about something vastly deeper. It's a covenant between man and woman, which reflects, the covenant of God to Jesus, Jesus to his church, man to woman, and parents to children. This is God's gift to society. In every marriage I do, I tell couples that marriage did not originate from the minds of mankind, but from the all-knowing mind of the Almighty, who established first not the church or the state, but the home, the cornerstone of which is the union between one man and one woman for one lifetime. God's plan for marriage actually gets lived out more faithfully by Christians and others during times of crisis. Now, let me say one more thing as I prepare to close today. I think as more people take marriage seriously, you're going to see a decline in the sheer number of marriages. That can be good in that you're going to see less people getting married for silly reasons. But the challenge I think that's going to present itself going forward is going to be something that the Chinese called leafless limbs. Now, this idea of leafless limbs is kind of people who are orphans out there, men and women who never married, never had children, never had families, never had extended families, and now they find themselves kind of on their own, orphaned, as it were, in culture and society. this is the place where the Church of Jesus is going to have to step up. And so one of my questions for you today is really going to be this. How do you see yourself and your church, your faith community, stepping into this crisis? How do you see the impending or the coming crisis being a place where you can be relevant for the cause of Jesus? I'll look forward to hearing some of your responses to that. I'm Pastor Shannon. This has been Thursday Thoughts. I'll look forward to talking to you next week. Until then, go in peace.